Good morning. Good morning. It is 2:52 a.m. I'm on my way to the gym right now because we all know that the person who can win the morning can win the rest of the day. I was listening to something this morning and he was talking about controversy and how when you become a leader, there are levels of controversy that you are going to run into. And he specifically signified the White House. And he says that the race to the White House is simply, how did he put it? The race to the White House and the controversy on the way to the White House during the election is simply preparing you for the hell that's going on up there. But anytime you have to make a decision, whether it's you're head of a company and you have to make new rules and regulations, it's going to come with a measure of controversy. Anytime you have to come to an employee and you have to say, we need to do things this way, it's going to come with controversy. But controversy is simply pushback. It's going to come with a level of pushback, people resisting that change. And most people won't step into that role of leadership because the controversy that comes with it creates a division. And what he said that I thought was more interesting was, in order to be a good leader, you can't take that pushback or that controversy personal because somebody disagrees with you. You can't take it as a sign they don't like you. But he brought up a specific story inside of the Bible, and it was Nehemiah building the walls of Jerusalem. And Nehemiah was controversial. And he said you have to be mindful that when you're in controversy, that it does not stop the progress. Just because you can't wait for everything to become perfect before you decide that you want to make a decision, before you decide that you want to go ahead and do the right thing, because it's going to be controversial, because it's going to create a problem. You can't slow things down waiting for everything to work out just fine so you can avoid controversy. It's a part of the process. And if you're going to be a leader, then you're going to run into levels of controversy. And that's why not everybody is situated to be into that, because most people much rather be liked than to step in a role that may have been destined for them of leadership and say, no, this is the way things need to be. And so often people will avoid that. But Nehemiah knew that building the wall around Jerusalem was a controversial situation, but he knew that the wall had to be built. So he had to use a two-handed strategy during his time. And his two-handed strategy was simply build the wall with one and have a sword in the other. A trowel to lay the mortar for the brick, and then a sword to fight off all the controversial individuals around him. Because he knew that the controversy was never going to stop, and if he waited for the controversy around him to stop in order to start building this wall that needed to be built, the wall would never get built because controversy is always going to be there. And if you're going to stay scared, locked in your little box, waiting on controversy to go away, then you'll never make a decision. You'll never make a move. You'll always be trying to appease somebody. But what would you want? Now, nobody said that you had to rule with an iron fist, almost in a dictatorship. But you have to make decisions. And those decisions are almost always going to be controversial. And they're always going to come with a level of pushback, a level of resistance. I was working with my son yesterday on a project where we needed to roll out some new software to do some editing, and it was different than what he was used to. There was a learning curve. There was a process that was involved with that. But I knew that learning this software, learning this information was going to allow us to avoid that down the road and to start working with something that was a better product for the future. Versus the one that we had been working with that was limited, that was a free version that didn't unlock all the powers and the abilities that a true artist could use. And there was a level of pushback. This is harder. This is longer. Why do this when we can just simply stick with that? Because I am in a position of leadership, and I'm in a position to say that I see something for the future, and if we don't make a move now, then we're just prolonging the inevitable. And the inevitable is that we have to make a move. We have to make a decision. We have to move in the direction of what's going to be best for the long run. We can't stay comfortable stuck here in the desert eating manna all day long. At some point in time, we have to go. And there was a level of pushback. But see, I didn't take that level of pushback as you don't like me. I didn't take it as you don't respect me. I took it as you just resisting something new. That's normal. But in a leadership role, I am willing to take that pushback. You have to be willing to step into that role and say, this is what's going to be best for the future of the company. This is what's going to be best for the future of the family. This is what's going to be better for the future of my health. This is what's going to be better for the future of what we're trying to go to. As a leader, not only do you have to deal with opposition, you have to deal with controversy, but you have to be a forward thinker. You have to be able to see ahead. You have to be able to visualize what's going on. And that scares people. Because one, they don't want to be controversial. But not only do they not want to be controversial, but boy, do you know how hard it is to look 10 years ahead? Do you know how hard it is to give up the gratification of what we can have right now to say, I'll wait to see what's behind door number 2? I was reminded of a game show this morning, and it was The Price is Right. And they would spin that big wheel. And whoever got closest to the dollar amount got to advance to the next level. So this was the last step in the process. The last step in the process. This is it. Who's going to make it to the big showcase? Who's going to make it? 3 contestants. All step up. They got 2 shots at the wheel. If they hit the highest number, which is the dollar on the first spin, that's almost a guaranteed way to get in. But what if they come up a little bit short? How bad do they want to get to the showcase? Are they willing to spin the wheel again to see if they can make it to the highest number? Or are they willing to settle for what they got? In a leadership role, you have to deal with controversy. You're going to have to deal with pushback. If you're not experiencing levels of pushback, and levels of controversy, and I'm talking about with people close to you. If you're docile and passive, subdued with what's going on right now, okay with just being okay, if you can be a forward thinker and see what's best for the company for 10 years, see what's best for your family in 20 years, the next generation, the workouts that I do every day are not going to give me results every day, but it's going to make slight improvements on me for the future. The habits that I build now are the same habits that I'll be building my future on. If I build on bad habits, I'll be building on bad habits in the future. If I build on just giving just enough each day, then that's the habit that I will have for here on out until that changes, is just enough habit. If you're not willing to stretch yourself, if you're not willing to increase your capacity to handle and do more, which simply comes with reading, which simply comes with taking on things that are outside of your comfort zone, which means learning new processes, learning new steps. If you're not willing to do that, then what you're saying is you're not willing to go to the next level, and you're not ready for what's next, because what's next comes with growth. And a lot of times the controversy that you run into is people saying, we've been doing things this way for this long, so why do we need to make a change? Because you are not progressing, you are not growing, you are staying the same. And the reason why you're staying the same is because you're not stretching yourself. It's kind of like going into the gym. If you go in there, you do the same 1 mile on the treadmill, you pick up the same weight, you work the same muscle, you do the same thing. At some point in time, the muscle memory starts to remember what it is that you're doing, and it no longer grows. It just starts to think that that's a part of it. I've never seen somebody walk 5 miles every single day and develop huge, big muscles. They typically develop and evolve into a physical form that is an indicator of what they do every single day. But if they pick up a weight, then they might start stretching a new muscle. They might start developing a new strength. But if you're not willing to build your capacity, and you're not willing to be controversial, and you can't be a forward thinker, then at the end of the day, you know what's wrong. At the end of the day, it's going to be hard to lead anybody if you can't even put yourself in the right state of mind that a leader needs to be in.